Welcome to StonerCast, your official deep dive into Columbus Clingstones baseball. As the AA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves, the Clingstones are building the future of baseball in the A, and we're here to bring you closer to it all. Get the inside look at what makes this team and this community so special. This is StonerCast. Here's your hosts, Ricky and Dave.
Welcome into StonerCast. And I'll tell you what, Dave, we may not get anything right, but that intro from Clingstones broadcaster Jack Johnson is phenomenal. I think we at least have the intro music and outro music nailed.
Absolutely, man. Jack did a great job on that. We greatly appreciate you, Jack. Thank you very much.
We do. And we're going to have Jack on for an episode here pretty soon. And we'll be sure that we announce that before it's done. You'll want to hear his story. He's done a tremendous job for the Clingstones this season. He did a tremendous job for Gwinnett last year as the number 2 broadcaster, and he's got a great story, hailing from Arizona, and he's now back at home. So once he gets settled in, we'll get him in to record and publish his episode soon. So, but let's talk about today. I'm super excited to bring in 2 folks that are tremendous people, but they're the parents of Adam Zebrowski, our catcher for the Columbus Clingstones. Colleen and Gary Zebrowski are going to be joining us, and I'm curious to know. We've got some great questions for them. I'm curious to know, some background on Adam, who he was growing up. And then their perspective on being a parent of a minor league baseball player. As everybody knows, the minor leagues it's a grind. And for a catcher, it's even more difficult because you've got a ton of wear and tear on your body. So we are going to bring Gary and Colleen in now. There they are, hailing all the way from upstate New York, around the Albany, New York area. Thank you for joining us, Gary and Colleen.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And then first of all, great job on your first podcast. It was a huge hit, and you put a lot of pressure on us though, with having Pete's interview and then us having to follow. It's a high bar for us to try to get over, but thanks for having us.
From the conversations we've had at the park with you guys, I think you guys will do perfect. Just talk like you did when we were talking in person at Synovus Park, and I think you guys will be just fine. So we'll again, they're from upstate New York. They're the parents of not only Adam Zebrowski, but their older son, 2 years older than Adam, Brendan Zebrowski, also played baseball. So they've been a baseball family lifer for sure. They've done this a couple of times already. So, Gary, I'll just start with you. Take us back to when Adam first started chasing baseball, and when did you realize that, hey, this may not just be a hobby anymore. This is something he's really good at and could go pretty far with.
I honestly have to say that I don't know if I ever really felt that way. It was way further along in the process where I felt that way. He was pretty good player. He got a lot of influence from my older son, and would always want to take as many at-bats as his brother got if we were playing around the house and we were just playing some wiffle ball and things like that. So I kind of feel like he was a little advanced for his age, and he was good. But I have to be honest, though, I don't know that I ever felt that might become a professional career. He said that he hoped to do that, but there's millions and millions of young boys, little boys in Little League and whatnot that have that same dream. So I can't honestly say that I knew that would be possible.
Colleen, as we've seen, Adam is a very good baseball player. Was he active in other sports when he was younger?
Our kids, there wasn't a sport that they didn't want to play or do. So, but for school and travel, he did basketball and then in baseball. So those were his 2 big ones. But we were the house in the neighborhood that when we would meet people out, they'd be like, "Oh, you're the house where the kids are always outside." They were out 24/7, and there was not there wasn't a sport equipment that wasn't out. And but it was hockey, basketball, swimming. I can't even think what else. You name it, lacrosse. They were pretty active.
The interior of our house showed with the indoor hockey that they played many years after, when it was cost some decent money to sort of patch up the foyer and with all the marks and things like that.
So I've got a question for both of you. As a baseball parent myself of 4 boys that have all played ball at every level, baseball has shaped our family life pretty dramatically. Most of our close friends are baseball parents, folks that we spent countless hours with at ball fields and stuff. And I'm just curious to know how baseball in general has shaped your family life.
Yeah, it definitely the same that you have, Dave. We definitely have lifelong friends. We actually on Friday night met up with 2 families that we became very close with, that boys started playing baseball when they were 8. And we've stayed together regardless of different schools, different lifestyles, whatever, but we still get together on that piece of it. And then on Brendan's team, actually on Tuesday, I'm going with the baseball moms. And again, you're talking quite a few, almost 20 years that everybody has stayed together.
Wow.
Gary, of course, we all know Adam is a Braves fan now. But growing up, what was Adam's favorite baseball team, and who was his favorite baseball player?
I honestly don't know. I don't think that he really had a favorite team until it was the Braves. And it was quite a few years before he ever got drafted by them. We went to a baseball tournament down in the Atlanta area and actually did the tour of the ballpark. And he was a fan already at that time. So it was really like a dream come true for him to get drafted by them. And I don't know. Would you know his favorite player?
Posey.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. When he
Posey.
started getting into the catching, with Buster Posey. That is true. Yes.
Okay.
The mom remembers better than I do.
So we've got some fan submitted questions. We thank everybody that did submit a question for the Zebrowskis. Your input into the show is crucial, and we thank you for taking the time to come up with a question to ask them. And I promised everybody that I would get them on air. So the first question we have is from Dan Ursery. He wants to know what it was like the moment you guys saw Adam was drafted to the Braves.
Wow. Surreal. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. We were all in different spots, and actually Gary can tell more, but he saw it first.
Yeah, I think I kind of maybe ruined it for Adam a little bit, but we were in the same room, and I kind of saw like ahead a little bit that he had gotten drafted, and I sort of blurted it out there. And he said not too long ago, just recently, like how he said, "Dad, you kind of, because sometimes we watch the ball games and I'll see something happen on GameCast before it's on the video." And Adam was laughing about it a little bit, and he says, "You used to do that even back when I got drafted there." But like Colleen said, though, it was just a very surreal moment, a lot of euphoria, and just like almost like, wow, did this really just happen?
Mm-hmm.
That this is I don't know, anybody that's gone through it, it's probably has the same opinion. It's really hard to describe. It's just pure joy, and just ecstatic and just a great moment. And we were, very proud of him and very happy for him, obviously.
Yeah, and then not only be drafted, but be drafted by his favorite team that we just talked about, right? He was a big Braves fan, and so not only being drafted, but that's your team.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. It's as hard as it is to get drafted. I think most baseball players that are in that position are just like, I love the Braves, but hey, I'll go be a San Francisco Giant, or I'll go be a
right. Yeah.
And I'm sure Adam wouldn't have minded being drafted to the Yankees or the Mets. You guys wouldn't have minded him being
His
drafted.
dad might have had a problem with that, but yeah.
So this next question comes, it was addressed to Colleen specifically, and it is from Eric Murray, Murdog. He says, Colleen, were there any other nicknames for Adam besides Zebo? And also, why are the 205 bleacher creatures the best section in Synovus Park?
I'll answer the hard one first. So nicknames, probably Ace, Z, big one. And then actually, because he was the little brother, there was one family that used to call him Little Man. And now Adam is probably here and they're here. So it was funny when you saw him not too long ago and they were like, okay, yeah, that doesn't work anymore. So that's, I think those were pretty much the ones that I could think of.
Yeah.
So, and words aren't going to be able to express how much we appreciate the 205 team. So I'll be honest, we kind of just try to go to a game as a spectator. We don't share who we are. We do listen when people complain about the players. You can't help but listen on that. But we don't usually tell people who we are. We just kind of just go to watch. But Ricky, from our conversations before, when we got to meet in person, and then you introduced us to the team, they just embraced us like there was no tomorrow and made us feel beyond welcome.
Awesome.
The generosity of of your group and just the warmth. You can't even describe it.
And just for the backstory there for our listeners, this podcast was born out of the Columbus Clingstones fans and the Stoners Facebook page. Those are fan pages that were created right after the brand launched. And we knew that we'd probably get some parents, some siblings, friends from back home that would join, and they would, we wanted to make sure players are protected, first of all, with the rules that, you're not going to drag any players in this group. But we wanted parents and loved ones being in the group because we wanted them to see just how much Columbus embraced and loved their kids, their players. So we started a road bag effort in that group to pack the players bags of snacks, just stuff to take on the road to help them, on a road trip. And I got a message from Miss Zebrowski wanting to participate. And she participated in both rounds of road bags that we did. And through those conversations, I found out they were coming to Columbus, gave them some recommendations on places to go eat, things to see, things to do. And, she let me know when they were coming, and we made it a point to meet. And I'm so glad we did, because they really are just great humans. And this world lacks a lot of great humans. So I'm really
right
glad.
Back at you guys.
Absolutely.
Really glad I was able to meet you, and we were able to forge this relationship that now leads to what I think is probably going to be one of the better episodes of this podcast. It's not often you get to hear the parents' perspective on stuff. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Touching on that, where you said you guys kind of, listen at games and listen for criticisms. And, as Adam works his way through the Braves farm system, how do you balance that pride of seeing him doing what he loves, playing the game that he loves, at such a high level, with also the nerves that come along from knowing just how tough this grind is?
Well, I'll say on my excuse me, on my end of it, that there are a lot of ups and downs, and sometimes many times I need excuse me, my wife Colleen and my other son Brendan to sort of kind of take a step back, Dad, and settle down. I don't think I'm a crazy nutty type of parent or dad like that, but I do have some moments like that, and I always tell them that sometimes when I feel that way, that it's a cliche, but it comes out of love and it just wanting the best. And if there's a game where Adam has hit his first time up at that, I'm like, geez, I just want more. I want like a couple hits or 3 hits and stuff. So I think it's a good type of pressure like that. But I will say that there's I've noticed as they go up that on some of the comments and things like that, and I haven't seen it with Adam, but I'm sure that hopefully excuse me, that time will come. That I even said recently, I said if Adam does advance to whatever level, and like that there are sometimes criticisms that you read, I might have to check out of that there, because I could see where some parents might get a little bit angry when it's things like that. There's those criticisms about their children. So yeah, I try to roll with it, but like many things in life, though, there's some good days, there's some not so good days with it, and it's trying to keep a balance and trying to keep positive, especially when we talk to them.
Yeah. I mean, there's no lie, right? He struggled for quite a bit early in the season. It's not that I could ever give advice. I gave up my athletic abilities for my boys, but Gary and Brendan, he's at a level beyond what any of us could ever help, right? So it's the words of encouragement. It's a game of failure. Cheer when he's on, but make sure he doesn't get too low or beat himself up when he, has those lulls. Every player goes through it, and it, but it's tough. It's really tough you're, almost I thought we're 800 miles away. It's just a text, when he has the ability to respond back, but it's, really the keep plugging through, keep doing, but it's not like you can say, hey, put your hands up or do something, like when Gary coached it, he's well beyond, the capabilities that any of us have to help.
Right. And along with that, I'll also say that him being drafted to Atlanta was a godsend. Back to what Gary was saying, once he makes to that level, the Atlanta media is pretty generous. They 680 The Fan, the flagship station of Braves, during the Braves season, most of the day is built around Braves coverage. And it's rare that you get a caller that, it's not Philly. It's not Philly. It's not, right. It's not Mets fans, Yankees fans. It's, I think there's a little bit of Southern hospitality that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. But, 680 The Fan is good about not allowing folks to come on their airwaves and blast players. So I think, he's in a great organization for that. So maybe you won't have to stop reading all media or, disconnecting from social media. So.
Yeah. And he'll often say that too, when we talk to him, and it's something that we have learned, that it's just such a long season, and there's even the best players have a few peaks and valleys most of the time in that season. And you can't let the lows get you down too much, and the highs get you. We try to always teach both of our sons, just, in life too, just try to stay grounded and not, put your best foot forward and not get too, too down on yourself, and just continue to keep working at it, and just, do your best and see where things go.
Yeah. And that in that same respect about the fan base, though, Nothing warms your heart more than, we'll be listening to the stream, or even a couple times when we were there, and to hear fans yell and cheer for him, right? And you're like, oh my God, that's my baby. Thank you. It means a lot that they do, or when you see them, the fans coming down and actually wanting an autograph and get that piece of it, that even if there is a struggle, the fans are still cheering for him. And that means a lot. And I come from a bigger family, and my siblings all watch, and a couple of nieces and Gary's brother. And there's on one of the family chats, and they heard somebody chatting, did you guys hear them cheer for him? And so it's not just us that it does. So I don't think people realize, when you're watching, that player is somebody's parent, that player has worked hard to get there, just like every other, job. And to get that support is second to none.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Dave?
Absolutely. Gary, Ricky and I are obviously big Zebo fans. We've both met him, had conversations with him, and he's just the nicest guy in the world. So we're really, really happy for him getting promoted to AAA.
Thank you.
How did he let you guys know that he was promoted? How did he deliver that great news to you guys?
Well,
I've got my own idea of how it probably went, but I want to hear what you guys say.
He was actually, on his way, to the airport, and he was, getting ready to come home that day, and he sent us a text. So we were wondering if it was going to be like a delay in the flight or something like that, and he was saying, "Not coming home today. I'm going up to Gwinnett." And we were like, "Oh my goodness, holy cow! How did this happen at all?" So it was, it was a big shock. And he told us a little bit later, but he said it was a real kind of scramble to, okay, I'm not going to be taking that flight, and now I'm heading to Gwinnett and all like that. So he said it was a long day, but obviously a very happy day for him.
Yeah, my thoughts were, just having talked to Adam a few times, would be, he called you, hey, I've got to go to Gwinnett. I'll see you guys soon. Just kind of just blah. He doesn't seem like super excitable. Of course, that's the side that we see. I'm sure you guys have seen crazier sides, but he's just very even keel and cool, calm, collected. So
that's changed a lot since he got drafted. Though he could be pretty volatile. We'd have some good go-arounds especially sometimes after a game or whatever. But he's matured a lot with that, and it's been a great thing to see. In his development, just even as a person, as a young man.
So leading kind of into that, several of our Clingstones players have gotten a call up to Atlanta this year. And one thing that really struck me were the differences in two stories. Didier Fuentes, when he got called up, the Braves were on the road in Miami. And of course, the TV guys were clamoring to get down to get the family reaction. And Dad was there. I think his dad and maybe the international scout that kind of discovered him, and an uncle. And the TV guys made mention that Didier's mom was back home in Columbia taking care of the children. And then Hayden Harris, when he was called up, the Braves again were on the road at Wrigley. And his parents weren't able to be there for his debut. And I'm just curious, have you guys had conversations with each other about, when that call comes, drop what you're doing and fly out? Or
we haven't had that conversation, but if he told us, we would have the flight booked before we hung up. So we would be there without any doubt, regardless of where. We would find a way.
That's awesome.
For sure. So we're going to do a couple more fan questions now. like I said, we got 5. I'm hoping we have time to get all of them in. But this one comes from Kathy Williams, wife of Chuck Williams, another 205 bleacher creature. And she said, Colleen, Adam was my favorite player this season. The catcher is involved in every pitch, and it's hot here in Georgia. He wears a lot of equipment. Do you, as a mother, worry about the heat and if he's doing the right things to hydrate?
Yes. So, and we do know that we would joke he has to lose like 5 pounds a game. Like you go near after a game and it's like you want to hug him, but it's not pretty, right? The sweat pouring off. And so yes, the mother in me does text, during some of the highlighter times, like remember to hydrate, as if he's like 5 years old and doesn't remember. So, and I can imagine what the thought bubble is in his head, but the team is really good about making sure the guys do that. And he has learned his lesson, that he needs to do that. So he is good about it, but yeah, you still worry about it, especially during when you guys had the real heat wave.
It's brutal. Georgia summers are absolutely brutal. So
yeah.
There were some times last year even, or maybe even the prior year, and they would say, it's 90 degrees at game time, or it's 87. And we tell some people, up this way that are friends of ours, and they're like, how does he do that with that equipment? And we were like, as a parent, sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, this is, how does he do that with all that gear and all like that? But it's also the kind of the choice that he made. So
right, yeah,
right.
And we can't see him being in any other position. That he loves that position.
Yeah,
he's a catcher all day. Mentality-wise, he's a catcher. So this one comes from Josh Weems. He said, Gary, how hard did Adam have to be pushed? Was he a kid that lived, ate, and breathed the game 24/7? Or did he sometimes need a little extra push to be the best version of himself?
He never, ever needed a push. I can be completely honest and 100% on the mark. And he never, from the earliest ages, even when he became a catcher, people were asking me if he, what made him be a catcher. But I always said to people that Adam was not a watcher. They were like, did he watch games and did he see? And I said, Adam was not a watcher of the thing. Adam was a doer. He would watch a game with us, and if it'd be on an afternoon, maybe a Saturday afternoon or whatever, and he'd watch like 3 innings of it, and then he'd go outside and I don't know, he'd throw a tennis ball against the house or something like that, just for example. And I said he always wanted to be doing and not so much watching. And maybe that's the secret to the success that he's had with it. But as far as prodding, no, that I can say 100% definitely not.
Yeah, actually, when you were just saying that, so before Adam was old enough to play baseball, we would bring him, to the game, to Brennan's games. He would have to be a full uniform, just as if he was a player, right? The baseball pants, the cleats, we had to get cleats even though he couldn't play. And there was a mound right by the field, and the entire game, he would, he would pretend to pitch, slide down the hill as if he was sliding home base. Then he would pretend he had a ball, throw the ball, then run up to the mound. He was dirtier coming out of a game than any kid off of that field. And he did that from the time we got to the field until it was time for the freeze pop at the end of the game. So yeah, he never. I remember there were times where like, would it be nice if you just sit in front of a video game for like just a little while?
so true.
Yeah, most parents are like, stay away from that game.
Yes.
But parents that are spending like crazy time driving to tournaments. And my wife, bless her heart, our 3 oldest played baseball when our youngest was born. And, he was about around a year old, and he'd be fighting to get out of a stroller, and you couldn't let him out of the stroller because he was gone if you did.
That's what we always said. It was we'd rather it be that and like extra time, even in the winter time here where they wanted to get outside and do things. I said there's a lot worse things that they could be getting into, whatever like that. So if that was the price we paid for it, that was good, because it was better to be that way and be active than like couch potato or whatever.
And I do want to get this last fan question in. This one comes from Heather and Phil Clark, and Heather and Phil both run the West Georgia Dixie Baseball League. They don't have a kid playing; they do it for love of the game.
Wow.
Give these kids a place, and they play year round. But their question is: at what point did Adam start taking full accountability for his own nutrition, workouts, training, as opposed to you guys really pushing him to, hydrate, to, don't eat so much junk food, you don't need soda type arguments?
Probably in high school. In high school, he started doing that. And then when he was a freshman in college, like he started to really turn. For the longest time, he didn't drink water. And then all of a sudden that's all he drank. But there was really a switch in college. He met with one of our friends that we were talking about that we went to dinner with. Their nephew was a trainer at the school, and he only took specific kids. Like most people couldn't get in to see him. And Adam saw him. He put a plan together. They talked about nutrition, and he was hook, line, and sinker. He was pretty good, but then when he met with Tony, he was a totally different person.
Yeah, and he'd come home and he started to, like, we'd go out on a Friday night for pizza, and he wouldn't have the pizza. He'd get a dinner instead, because it was, the calories or whatever like that. So it progressively changed like that, where he was a lot more concerned about that. And he was never really bad about it either, though, and really overweight and all, but he really started to focus on that, along with the lifting and the working out and the whole package.
So I know it's tough for you guys to be so far away from Adam for what is a long, grinding minor league season. After making 2 trips to Columbus and seeing firsthand the fan support from Clingstones fans, I know you never truly believe they got my baby. They got him. They're going to take care of him. Just tell us what it meant to you guys to see that fan support, and to know that, if Adam needs a Tylenol at 2 a.m., all you got to do is call him. Adam will get his Tylenol.
Well, I'll start just saying this part, and Colleen can certainly elaborate on. I felt like when we spoke at the last game that we were going to be at, Rick, and the best way that I can sum it up is that I said to many of the people that we met, yourself and many of the other people there, I hope I don't see you guys again in Columbus. And I mean, as I mentioned, I meant that with all the most sincerity and the best reasons why. And I said, because that would mean Adam moved up and was on his way. But we have found this at different levels, and it's difficult because, again, you want that's the goal that they want to get to, and you want them to get there. And even as fans, I'm sure that you're pulling for different people like that. But it's a little bittersweet, because you do make some good acquaintances, and you see what you meet wonderful people there, and really, good fans. And it's tough sometimes to walk away from that, and what a great experience that is, and just the way that you people treat these players and all like that, and make them almost like part of the family. So it's mixed feelings that you have like that. But the thing you can take away from that is again, that, those are things you to remember along during this journey. And that's a great feeling, because it could be a lot different. It could be, much worse like that. And so that is a comforting feeling for us, knowing that he's that far away, and the difficulty for us to do, to get there all the time as much as we would like to. But it's a great feeling to know that people like yourselves are there and really have their back, and it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's an extended family. It's like aunts, uncles, cousins are down there. I could, I could pick up and say, "Hey, Ricky, I hate to ask this, but can you X, Y, Z?" Right? I never feel like he's left alone.
Colleen and Gary, I've got a question for both of you. What is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to parents of a high school baseball player that is wanting to chase a career playing baseball?
I think the biggest lesson that we saw, is if you're not going to be drafted right out of high school, right? We didn't have that experience. Adam went to school. Is to don't worry about the number after the D.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a school that is a good fit, and go to a school that you're going to play, and you have a coach that is concerned about your development. Adam went to a D3. He had a lot of friends that went to D1, and nothing happened. They sat on benches, they transferred, et cetera, et cetera. He went to a D3 school. When we went to look at it, at the end of the day, we said, if something happened to you, you weren't going to play baseball, would you still want this school? And he did. And he had a coach that really worked with him and developed and saw the talent with him and embraced it. And scouts came to the games. When he was a sophomore, they came for another player and saw Adam, right? And then his junior, and that was COVID. So unfortunately, after, there were just a few games before it ended. In junior year, we were at a game, and there was like all these people on the side. And at first I thought it was for the other team. And I'm like, why do they keep going over every time? Like totally oblivious why they kept going. And then in between, it was a double header. And he was like, oh, those are scouts. We're like, oh, wow. So it doesn't matter. It's really go where you can help. If you go to a D1 and you sit on the bench, that doesn't help you at all. Right.
Right. Exactly.
And just to further that point, when we asked him, he didn't have as much a Division I interest as I personally thought he should have. A little bit of a issue, but when we asked him where he wanted to go, and when he said, I want to go somewhere where I can play. He said, I don't want to sit on the bench for 2 years and because it's this school or whatever. He said, I want to go somewhere that I can play. And our niece was involved in swimming, and she had gotten a scholarship to swim in college. And she was a very good swimmer. And we had her talk to Adam at one point, and she said to what Colleen's point was, she said, you want to go somewhere where if the sport ends, that you still like that school and want to be there. And again, I don't know for sure if he had his choice at that time that a Division III school would have been the choice that he made. But sometimes the best advice I can give to people is that you never know where the path is going to take you. It's many times, even in Adam's career, I like to tell him that, and I said it's never a straight line for any of us in life. It's to the left, it's to the right, or whatever, and there's a lot of bumps along the way. And I think the same thing, like Colleen said, that we just obviously we still feel strongly about it because Adam, the path that he took. But I think sometimes some parents kind of get caught up in well, it's got to be Division I and it's got to be Division I. And, he's a good example, and he's not the only one, Adam, but he's a good example of if you're talented enough, if you're play good and the cards fall the right way, they'll find you, they'll find you. And, so that's, I guess, I think that's the best advice that we could give.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've noticed that a lot of players come from the D2 and D3 schools. When you kind of do research on players, it's like, well, I've never heard of that school, and,
Right.
And that kind of lends toward what you were talking about as playing time. College football is a great example. A lot of people wanted to go to Alabama and play for Nick Saban, but if you went there, you're probably going to sit for 2 to 3 years.
Right.
There's a lot of people ahead of you. So
yes,
you play 1 year, somebody else comes in and he moves you, right?
Right.
That's just right.
It also doesn't hurt that, to say if you do go D3, bust your butt. Adam won D3 National Player of the Year in 2021, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is the year he was drafted too. It's a, if you go, it doesn't matter where you're at. The recognition comes if you do what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
He worked very hard. And when we do his episode, we're going to go through that, I guess, senior year at St. John's and the insane numbers that he put up. I know you guys had to have just been like, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to follow along with that. It was just kind of nuts.
Yeah.
So I've got one more question before we go to what we call our lightning round, which is just quick answers. The nickname Zebo. Colleen, you shared with me more before about a family friend that kind of coined that nickname, and you'll see her pop up in Clingstones posts on Facebook with Go Zebo anytime there's a picture of him shared. Sometimes just when a lineup is announced. Tell us the story behind that nickname, and does she know that the nickname is really taken hold all the way down here in Columbus?
Yeah, it was actually one of our baseball dad friends.
Okay.
Who he was up to bat. He was a big cheerleader of Adam's and a lot of the boys. And he got up, and I think we were behind in the game, and he was like, "Zebo, blow it up!" And he did get a home run. So we're like, "All right, Mike, this is yours." And from that point on, it stuck. And he did play travel throughout, but he switched schools. Like for high school, he went to a private school instead of, with all from where his teammates were. And that name carried with him. He went to St. John Fisher. That name carried with him. And it's really funny, then you're like, all right, it'll be different down here. But nope, it has stuck. And yes, he's very proud that he gave him that nickname.
And I think I saw it on a Clingstones post and was like, yeah, that's it's kind of hard to say. Go Zebrowski. Enthusiastic. So Zebo was a welcome alternative.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I know Adam heard it.
Yeah.
Ricky, that first game I came to, I think me and you were calling him Zebo before we ever even heard anything that was his nickname. It just naturally fits,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
So we're gonna go to lightning round, and this is just gonna be just quick, short answers. And we did this with Pete, and it turned out really well. So we're hoping it's gonna carry on with you guys. Gary, what's the one thing Adam does off the field that makes you say, "Yeah, that's still my boy"?
Opinionated.
All right. For both of you, what's the funniest little baseball kid moment you still bring up to Adam today?
Oh. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
I
T-ball running to third first, or
well, no, actually, I do have one. So Brendan is they're very, very close, but they're different. So when Brendan played and there was somebody on first base who couldn't field the ball, he would just lob it over, right? Little lob, no big deal. Adam, nope, didn't care who you were. The full force. And so Gary said something to me. He goes, well, if they can't catch it, they need to get off the field. So I think that's one, but I did, not to belabor, but I did just think of another one. His first day of baseball in Little League, before the game, he came out, they were practicing, and he came out and he was crying, and he's not a crier. There's blood all over his face. So the kid threw the ball, it missed, and it hit, he was throwing it somebody else. It missed that kid and hit Adam. So we're like, it's all right, we'll take care of it. You're fine. He was like, they're not going to let me play because it's bleeding. He didn't care that he got hit. He was more concerned that he waited all this time to play, and they might not play him. So
that's fantastic. Colleen, with Halloween approaching, if age weren't an issue, what costume are you buying for Adam to wear this year? And how about Brendan? Surely not Batman and Robin.
No. I'm going to put him in a pumpkin costume to match the red hair.
There you go. Excellent answer.
I had a feeling you'd answer that.
As the dad of a catcher myself, I'm just curious, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being slightly stinky and 5 being don't you dare bring it in the house, how bad was Adam's catcher's bag?
What's the 5 is the worst?
Keep it outside.
5, yes.
Maybe on the scale of 1 to 5, maybe 7.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
There's a whole podcast and a whole bunch of stories there.
I was blessed to have a truck.
Clean George with you.
Yeah, I was blessed to have a truck when Mom was catching, and I'd tell her to say it goes in the back of the truck. And
that's a great idea.
Get a good air out on the way home.
Yeah. Colleen, if Adam had to pick one meal for you to cook him every day for the rest of his life, what would he pick?
Buffalo chicken. And not my sister. My sister would be her pepperoni bread, but it would be buffalo chicken.
The pepperoni bread, I feel like, is solely responsible for Adam's turnaround.
Yeah.
Right after he got home from break, he shared with me a story that he brought home some pepperoni bread, and it's amazing at what the difference in the first half and second half. Yeah. So last one for each of you.
Yeah. Well, we'll bring some down next year.
Absolutely.
Lots of it. Keep that filed in the back of our mind for a slump buster or anything like that.
So excluding the day he was drafted, this one's for both of you. Share your one favorite baseball memory of Adam from Little League all the way through this season that it's finishing in a few hours.
Okay. Well, I think of one right off the bat. So we were playing a travel baseball game.
No, I think you said minor, right?
No, both of you.
Any? Sorry.
Okay, so we were playing a minor travel game, and Colleen was with our older son Brendan at his game. So I was with Adam and sort of coaching a bit too. And we were playing a team from a location that we weren't really, just to put it nicely, we weren't real fond of. So Adam wasn't having that good of a game. So him and I were kind of butting heads a little bit. And we were in, I don't remember exactly what the score was, but there was another good player on our team, and they intentionally walked him to load the bases to pitch to Adam. And as I said, we were on the side of the dugout, and I was kind of grousing and the one friend who gave Adam his nickname of Zebo, he came over and he was really getting him charged up. He came over, he said, they're, intentionally walked to pitch to you, Zebo, come on. Now, he said, you got to do it. He was like, that's the ultimate insult, and this, that, and the other thing. And he went out there and he hit a grand slam to win the game. And it was one of those, it was just a fantastic moment because, like I said, there was a lot of animosity between the two teams and the coaching staff and all like that. And it was just a really funny moment. Like he just delivered on that. And it was like made for a much better drive home after that game.
Oh, for sure. All right, Colleen.
I think my favorite memory of his baseball days, for 1 year, Gary coached and had both boys on the team, which was sweet. But in Brendan's senior year, at the end of the season, they'll move up a couple of guys who will that they're guaranteed to go to varsity the following year. And Adam was one of them. And he got to catch one of Brendan's last games that he pitched. So it was just very sentimental.
That's awesome. Pitcher catcher combo. Yeah. I had my oldest was a first baseman because he's a giant. And so we never got that pitcher catcher thing, but we got some back picks from Hayden throwing down the ground, which was always cool to see. So
yeah. Proud parent moment, right?
It is seeing both of them on the field at one time. So, But guys, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We're right at an hour, and we could probably go another hour. I know you guys are probably wanting to go watch Gwinnett's final game. I told Dave as we were preparing for you guys to come on, I said, crap, Gwinnett plays at 105 today. We're going to have them on here. He said, Adam's not in the lineup to start. So, maybe they won't miss much. So, he's done well, I think, for his short time at Gwinnett. And as much as I'd love to see him back next year, like I told you guys at the end of the season, I'd rather go watch him in Gwinnett. Or I may go to more Braves games if Zebo's got a chance to play. So
we'll see. Hoping for the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
We still have a few things to check off of the list that you gave us too, Ricky, for Columbus. So,
come on back anytime. So we would love to have you, especially next season. Let us know. Like we named you guys honorary 205 Bleacher Creatures, so you've got a spot in our section.
Excellent.
You let me know when you come, and we'll get you in there. And at least you'll be secure from the rain for sure.
Yeah, and now you have fans too.
Yes, and I'm hoping for some additional horsepower in the fan department. So we'll see what happens. But again, thank you guys so much for spending your time. I know it's a big ask, and we're thrilled to have you on. Like I said, you're offering a perspective that not many people get to hear, and
that's right.
I think it's an incredible listen for our audience. And be sure to pass it around your hometown. Let everybody know when it publishes where they can find you and hear. And we again just thank you so much for everything.
We thank you guys for everything.
Sincerely to all of you, and it's our pleasure to do that because it was a great experience there. We wish we could have gotten there a little more often this year, but even the times that we were there it was great. It was a really great experience.
Yeah, that no other team will ever have a fan base like that. What you guys do is above and beyond what anybody could ever expect.
Yeah, I hope it keeps going, over the years while the team is there, and all the best.
Well, thank you guys again so much. Promise me this: when Adam gets the call to Atlanta, you guys come on with us for a few minutes just to share the news and what you're thinking.
We hope we're hoping for that, so we certainly will.
Oh.
All right. Well, again, Stoner Nation, we appreciate you guys tuning in to hear the Zebrowskis. I know the Zebrowskis are going to enjoy seeing some of the feedback on the different platforms, and thank you again.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your support.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you guys on, and very nice getting to talk to you guys. If you guys come back to Columbus and you go to a game, let Ricky know, let me know. I'll have I have season tickets that are going to be right in front of Ricky's. So you guys, if you come back to town, y'all let us know, and those seats will be yours. You're covered right there in 205.
Thank you so much.
We will.
Yeah,
we will definitely do
will.
that. We look forward to it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, Dave. I think that turned out to be an incredible episode.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed getting to talk to them. That's the first time I've gotten to talk to them, but I've talked to Adam so many times. It was just a real pleasure to get some insight from them on him growing up in baseball and such.
Right. They are a fantastic couple. They, throughout the season when they were here for 2 different series, and we were able to connect each time they were here, and it's talking to lifelong friends. They're great folks, and
they are great.
They are so proud of Adam and Brendan as well. But it's that travel down here it's a long way from Albany, New York, down to Florida, and they came, like we mentioned, in the summer when it was blistering hot. So,
absolutely.
Again, the Zebrowskis. This episode was supposed to be a kind of a split episode where we do some time with the Zebrowskis, and then we would do some time with Adam. And Adam got the call to Gwinnett, so we pushed those away. As a catcher, your body hurts, and I want him to have some time to rest and relax before we ask him to get on to do his part of the interview. So we're gonna do 2 episodes. We're gonna release this one with Mr. and Ms. Zebrowski, and then we will release Adam's in the near future. So
that's right.
Great questions from you today, Dave. I appreciate you as always as my co-host, all the way from Pale City, Alabama.
You too, brother. You got some great questions as well. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, we just want to encourage you, if you're watching this, listening to this, like, subscribe, share, and please rate and review. If your platform allows for that, please rate and review. Let us know what we can do better. Let us know if we're perfect. I would love to read that. But if there's something you see that's glaring that you think we should address, let us know. This is our first go around with this. And we've got a phenomenal producer, Ricky Z. And she makes us look better, I think, than we really are. But we welcome all constructive criticism, and thank you all for your participation on episode 1. And the numbers have just kind of blown my mind. Again, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you, Dave. Thank you to Gary and Colleen Zebrowski for their time. And as always, let's go Stones.
Yes, sir. Let's go Stones. Thank you, Ricky, and thank you, Mr. and Miss Zebo, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Look forward to
the next. As always, thank you, Ricky Z. You can find her at Ricky Z at RICKEYZ_social at Ricky Z Social.
She does a great job, guys. So if you ever need any of her services, get up with her. She's a very, very kind lady, and she does really good work.
All right, that'll do it until next episode. Go Stones.
Go Stones.
Thanks for tuning in to StonerCast, your inside look into Columbus Clingstones baseball. Please like, subscribe, and share to stay connected as we bring you closer to the Stones.